Welcome to Threshold Stories, a podcast about people crossing thresholds, one story at a time. I'm your host, Jeff Cora. I'm an author, athlete, and coach, and adventure travel guide. This show explores topics like fitness, overcoming adversity, faith and science, travel, and my favorite, what it takes to be a Christian author in the 21st century.
Jeff, we've had a number of questions about the slowest common denominator, we'll call it, okay? You know, any group or expedition, there's always a mix of speeds, abilities, and, you know, just general attitude if they can do it. So how do you manage the logistics on the road or on the trail so that the fastest don't feel held back by the slowest and the slowest don't feel left behind or stressed?
It's a great question. So the first time this philosophically ever came up was when my son and I were riding the Blue Ridge Parkway just to kind of try it out for ourselves before we made this into a commercial trip. And we discovered that between the two of us, there were three speeds of travel. There was the speed that he traveled at, there was the speed that I traveled at, and then there was the speed that we traveled at when we were together, which was neither the first nor the second. So with any two people, there's three known speeds. It was our first discovery. And that's kind of quintessential. I think people generally realize that they travel at a different speed by themselves than they're within a group. But because this is a chronic sort of an effort, whether you're trekking in the Himalayas or on a bicycle in Spain, you do have to think through it a little bit more. So let me kind of go through these in chronological order. So the March ride in Spain, we send out the slowest riders first with a ride leader. So these are the people who on day one showed me that they were not racing. They wanted to just go slowly. And the ride leader is going to drive at the pace of the slowest person in the group. So that's typically the easy pace. And that group generally stays together. And the reason I have them leave a half an hour earlier than everybody else is my goal is that we all converge at the same time for lunch. And so I have one group leave early, and then the fast guys leave 30 minutes later. They'll generally intersect at or around lunchtime, which is pretty darn perfect when that happens. And then after lunch, typically was only 90 minutes to 2 hours of riding to get back to our villa complex. And it's okay if we get a little bit separated during that process. So Spain, there's groups, but I stagger your release. The Blue Ridge Parkway for cycling is a little bit different because the support vehicle is riding up and down the line of riders all the time. So if we start at 7 a.m. on day two, which is when I like to start, we're going to be riding until something like 2 in the afternoon, stopping and starting. Well, the support vehicle is going to drive up and down the line, and each time it gets to you, he's going to roll the window down and say, what would you like? You know, do you need anything to drink? Do you need anything to eat? You want to give me a piece of clothing? You want me to give you a rain jacket? What do you need? So there's really no anxiety on the Blue Ridge Parkway because fundamentally people end up spreading out. You're all going the same direction. You're all starting at the same place. You're all ending at the same place. So if you travel at different speeds, it's really not an event per se. And I would say about 100% of the riders on the Blue Ridge Parkway at some time or another are riding by themselves. Either they had to stop for a nature break, someone they were riding with had to stop for a nature break, whatever the case may be, or maybe they just needed to pull over and pause. And the people who are this said, well, we're going to wait for you at the top of the mountain and you want to stop halfway up. So there's always a moment or two on the Blue Ridge Parkway by yourself. Okay, let's switch gears to Alaska. I'm always in the lead raft and my wife is in the back raft and everybody's in between us. If she can't see all the rafts, that's a problem. So she's looking forward. She needs to be able to see everybody at all times. And if she can't, she's going to signal to me and I'm going to have everybody stop. We can't really separate when we're in our chain of rafts going down a river system like we are. So everybody's within 1/10 of a mile of everybody else at all times in Alaska. And she and I do that. I'm the engine and she's the caboose. And if anybody knows anything about train management, the caboose person worries an awful lot more than the engine guy does. For Nepal, I'm going to be up front because I'm the one who's capable of reading the signs that are in Nepali and what have you. And my two Nepali guys who I've known for 40 years, Kopiram and Navraj, those two are always in the back talking politics. So they have no issues going really, really slow. And you can't fall back and be slower than the two of them. It's just not possible. I think between the two of them, they weigh like 700 pounds. And they've done these treks so many times that it's matter of factual. And their sense of urgency just doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. So there's no way you're going to go so slow that you're going to get lost, because eventually you're going to hear two loud guys blaming each other for the state of affairs in the world. And it's kind of interesting if you can understand Nepali, because they raise their voices and all that go with that. But I've got people that I trust in the very back, and I'm up front, and you'll be somewheres in the middle. It's pretty normal during the course of a week and a half of trekking in the Himalaya to just spend a morning walking with somebody you don't know and getting to know them. Some people spend a morning by themselves. They had a crummy night's sleep. They just want to be alone. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired of not knowing where they're at on the map. And they just want to spend an hour or two walking by themselves. In Nepal, you get the freedom to do that without needing anybody's permission. I personally bring a headphone, because sometimes when I know we're in a spot where it's just a straight up drudgery uphill for 2.5 hours, 2 hours, I'm not going to be talking with anybody because I'll be breathing too much. So I'll just put in some, low quality Taylor Swift sort of music and walk to that for, an hour or 2 hours. There's a couple ways to get there. Either way, we're going to make sure that logistics is not a safety concern.
For more information on any of the Threshold Academy expeditions, go to thresholdacademy.com. Again, that address is thresholdacademy.com. Also, please like and share this show with your friends and fellow travelers. For Threshold Stories, I'm Phil Earhart. Thanks for listening.